I would just share something that came up, when I was doing Amrit Vela. So I was just thinking about this purity. And you see that purity is perhaps one of the most difficult qualities to comprehend and put into words. So, it is easier to explain peace, love, and this and that, but purity is very difficult to explain most of the time. And I was just thinking about Baba says that you are a pure soul and purity is your nature, purity is your quality. So, what is that quality in me? So, you see that whenever there is this thing about purity, there is discussion about purity, then a simple analogy that comes up is that of the lotus flower. And the lotus flower is considered as the symbol of purity. And when we say the lotus flower is the symbol of purity, what is it about the lotus flower that makes it the symbol of purity? So the lotus has the ability to stay in muddy water and untouched by muddy water. So, it's the intrinsic ability, the inherent ability in the lotus, the quality that's there in it, which makes it possible for the lotus to stay in dirty water but above it. Now you see, even when we are not in Gyan, even when Baba, we have not come to Baba and we have not been introduced to the idea of purity, still every soul is pure in different degrees. Yes, because I, the soul, have taken many births. Every soul in the world right now has had a journey, and that's a journey downhill. Yes, so we have taken births, taken bodies, left bodies, and we have depleted ourselves. But we have all depleted ourselves to various degrees. So we are not all equally depleted or, in the same quality depleted. So depletion is of various measures and various degrees in every soul. And according to that, your affinity towards impurity in this impure world is also variety. So you see that in this world, this is basically an impure world. And there are forms of impurities and degrees of impurities. Correct? So impurity also has a wide spectrum in this world. So there is the impurity of lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. But then that also has many variations and many degrees. Yes, so there are people who are watching violence day in and day out. And they are paying to watch violence also. Such people are also existing in this world. So there are so many things going on in this world which will be called the dark hells of impurity. But even when somebody is not in Gyan, the impurity, the attraction or the pull to impurity is different in different people, is it not? So somebody will be pulled towards greed, and they would say that I want more, but I won't hurt anyone. And somebody would be there who would say, I want more and I can also kill for that. So there is greed, but what is the intensity of greed? And that intensity of your attraction towards lustful engagement, towards violence, towards greed, towards, fulfillment of greed, or towards, to what extent you would go to possess someone as your own. All of those intensities are different, and the more impure the soul, the more the attraction of the soul towards the impurity of the world. You look at food also. So there are souls in the world who will eat whatever is there on the planet. Yes, it should just taste good. And there are souls who will eat, eat filth, but then to a certain degree. And then there are souls who would say, no, we would only take plant-based food. And then there are souls who would say, okay, in plants plus egg, okay, that's okay for me. And then there are souls who would say, no, I want completely, food that is prepared with less spices, less chili, sattvic food, and that also very mild in taste. I don't want it very, tikha and this and that. So those souls are also there in the world also. Why? Because every soul every soul is colored by the impurity of the world based on what is the stage of impurity inside. So if my state of purity is very low, then all the impurity in the world will come and stick to me. And I would say, this is happening in the world, so how can I stay safe, and how can I? But why are you attracted? There are so many hundreds of other things also happening. But you are only attracted to a certain range. There is a range of impurity which attracts you. And what is that range? That range is directly proportional to your stage of impurity. So this is why, Baba says the world is not your problem. Purity is your problem. Your purity is your problem. And what is the method to shift from impurity to purity? It is raising your consciousness. So the more you think about yourself, remind yourself that you are a pure soul, the more you start seeing yourself as a pure soul, the more you start seeing yourself as a child of the ocean of purity, the more you have yoga with the ocean of purity, your stage of purity also starts to rise. And then what looked like a very ordinary engagement in the past would look like impure to you now. Earlier, whatever you... So, there is this one sister, and she messaged me that, I gossiped yesterday and I'm feeling very guilty about it. But the interesting thing is, I am not able to understand. I have done this all my life. I'm a big gossiper. I have been that for so long. So why is it troubling me now? Why suddenly I have started finding that, whenever I gossip, I feel bad about it. So, the same thing which made perfect sense to you yesterday, would not make sense to you anymore. When you start getting, when you start um, becoming pure, and becoming pure, so Baba says, you churn the knowledge, you have yoga with Baba, and you follow practices of pure food, celibacy, and slowly, gradually, your consciousness will rise. So, the four subjects, Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva. Baba says the more you churn knowledge, the more you think about not who they are, not what's going on, the more you think about who I am, what is my quality, what is my nature, what is my form. The more you think about yourself, the more you think about Baba, the more you churn about your deity form, the more you practice celibacy and purity of food, the more you practice purity of body, mind, and wealth, and the more you do seva, your consciousness starts rising, and then you have natural disinterest with the impure world. You don't have disinterest in the world, you have disinterest with the impurity of the world. So, have you seen that? There is, you read a whole story, or you watch a whole news, or you watch a whole serial, or whatever people are doing these days. When you do that, what is it that catches your attention? What is it that you take home from that? That which you are interested in. And mostly people the takeaway that they have is all the dirty stuff. They remember the violence, they remember the lust, they remember all the, every impure thing, because your interest is according to your stage, and your interest determines what you will attract or take away from something. So the world will remain impure. That's not your problem. You will not see that impurity. You will not have any attraction or repulsion towards that impurity. Even repulsion is the opposite of attraction. If there is no attraction, there is no repulsion. So you will not have any attraction, any repulsion to impurity. It will be there, but you will not have any business with it. You will feel like you are in Sangam Yoga, and you will only see the pure, you will only retain the pure. That's living like a lotus. And for that, we need purity. And Baba today says that charity begins at home. Charity begins at home means, Baba says, when sannyasis got enlightenment, the first thing they did is leave the wife. Yes, run away from the wife. But Baba says, why can you teach the whole world and not your wife? That's the first question. And it's so, even Buddha never taught his wife. He left his wife sleeping. He never taught his wife. So any sannyasi, the first thing when they, whatever they say, I have enlightenment or this or that, the first thing they do is leave the wife. Now Baba says, why leave the wife? If you can change everybody, why not start with the wife? So Baba says, I start with my wife. So Baba says, my wife is this Brahma Baba. I come and enter his body, so I start with him. I don't say I will teach everybody through Brahma and not Brahma. He says, no, if I enter his body, I first teach him. Everybody learns, everything is simultaneously going on. So why can't you do it simultaneously? Yes, whenever you receive Gyan, so why can't we also start where we are? Why do we have to leave that and start? So we can start where we are. It's not about leaving a place, it's about leaving impurity. And impurity is not a matter of where you live, it's a matter of who you are. So when you start shifting your consciousness by these 4 subjects, Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, then you start being pure, and then you can influence the ones who are closest to you first. Or it's not even about first and second, because it's not like Shiv Baba first taught Brahma and then others. No. He started simultaneously. So he was teaching Brahma Baba and teaching other children simultaneously. So Baba says you can also start the whole process simultaneously. Whatever you do will have influence on everyone, but also on the people who are very near to you, dear to you, close to you, living under one roof. Why will they not be influenced? And Baba says that do that. And you know, who can you influence? So have you seen that it's a very interesting phenomena in the world that all the psychologists, they can counsel everyone in the world but not their own children. Is it not true? And a physics teacher can teach physics to everyone in the world but not to his own child. That child goes and learns physics from someone else. The parent is the, and I have seen this, it was so interesting, you know. There was this one brother, and he told me, I am the physics professor in Delhi University, and do you know what the funny thing is? My son takes tuition from another teacher in physics. And he was just laughing his heart out, and he was just telling me, see, this is the, what do you say, this is the interesting thing in Kali Yuga. And I said, it's okay that it is like that, but do you ever think what is the reason? What is the reason? The reason is you are attached to your child. The reason is there is vice in that relationship. Wherever there is a relationship of lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, you cannot have an influence on that soul. So Baba says that charity begins at home, and if at home, while living in the family, you are able to win over your lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, then you will be able to influence them equally. But if all your vices are getting triggered at home, so you know, when you step out of the house, you're a sadhu, but when you come home, you are, you know, again those vices are attacking you, then you cannot influence the ones at home. So this is why Baba says the first thing, for the first difference that the sannyas, so Baba says even sannyas is of 2 types. So there are 2 types of sannyas. In one kind of sannyas which the sannyasis taught, you leave the home. But in another kind of sannyas which I teach you, you leave the vices and you change the home into an ashram. So it's the same home, but the vibration, the relationship, everything is shifting because of your sannyas, because of the way you are dealing with your vices. So impurity and purity is not about the world, it's about your stage. And when you are paying attention to Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, and you are stabilizing yourself in a consciousness which is pure, then in that stage you will not have any attraction to purity, to impurity, and your drishti, your attitude towards everyone will shift. It will be the same relationship, but you will not have an urge for lust and anger. Why do you beat up your child and not somebody else's child? Yes. So anger is also, about I and mine. But if you could see, if you could rise above your own impurity and you could rise above this sense of I and mine, then you could treat your own child with the same combination of love and detachment, which could work wonders and help, clear communication between you and the child. Now, with another child, there could be only love, but with your own child, it is always love plus attachment. And in that stage, you are not able to control your anger, or you're not able to stop judging, or you're not able to stop seeing them as imperfect. So Baba says, win over your vices, and then you will be able to, make that saying true, that charity begins at home. So this is something that Baba first says. And then today's Murli is fascinating, and in today's Murli, Baba covers his whole process of creation. So how Baba comes and creates, and what is the time when he comes, what is the language he uses, and everything about his process of creation, Baba is like going on explaining in the Murli. And I was just thinking about this creation. So, Baba today in the Murli says something very interesting. Baba says that I changed the whole world, but I don't have to go everywhere to do it. I sit in one place and do it. Yes, I sit in one place and do it. Why? Because, of course, Baba has to come and sit in Brahma Baba's body, because in the physical world, when Baba has to bring about a change, he needs a physical contact point. So that's there, but he says that I don't have to go everywhere and change the world, because you see, there is a very beautiful spiritual law. Sankalp se srishti. So how does Baba change the whole world? By changing the thought. By sowing the seed of that idea which was never in our awareness. Yes, and Baba says that I come into the physical world, sit in Brahma Baba's body, and I give you the idea and I teach you the method how to connect with me and take the power. So you see, there are two things that Baba gives. First is the idea, the truth that we never knew. The second thing is the nourishment of how to make that seed of truth grow. So Baba says, I teach you the truth that you are a soul, the truth that you are connecting to the world with your buddhi, and if you want, you connect, if you want, you disconnect. You have that power. So Baba says, I teach you the truth and many other truths like what is your original nature. So psychology and science had always told us that our basic nature is lust and ego, and we are basically humans who have evolved from monkeys, and the monkeyness is our original nature. But then Baba comes and sows the seed that purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, power, they are my original nature, and I am like that by design. So impurity is effort making, purity is natural. Yes, so Baba sows these seeds, these seeds of truth, which we did not know earlier. And I remember that, when I came into Gyan and I was introduced to the idea of purity, the first thing I thought was, so it is possible to be pure in a household. So I never had thought that this is a possibility. So when I came to know that this is a possibility, then it was easy. Nobody had told that this is also possible, or this is also an option, or this also happens, because we only saw that all households are created on the foundation of lust, and when that doesn't happen, then you go to the court and you get yourself divorced, because without lust there is no relationship. But Baba is the one who sows these seeds of truth that, it is absolutely possible to be pure while living in the body. So there is nothing like, sexual needs are not biological needs, they are psychological needs, which are trained into us ever since we are, So earlier, people used to have these thoughts about lust when they were 16 or 17 or 18. So because they were introduced to lust at that time. Now children at the age of 3, 4, I don't know, earlier than that also, they are getting these lustful thoughts because they are introduced to that idea very early on. So this is something that is a part of our, not our physicality, but our psychology. So now nobody became diseased by becoming pure. Did anybody do that? Anybody following celibacy has 100 diseases in the body because the biological need is not met. There is nothing like that. But somebody can go crazy because of celibacy, because it's your psychology that's working. Because it's fed into you that, you can go crazy if you remain celibate. So you can go crazy, that's okay. These are things that Baba tells us. This is the truth, and the truth was never known to us. We did not know that peace is my original nature, and We never tried trying to be peaceful in a chaotic situation. We tried to be silent and it worked, did it not? So we knew that, if somebody is shouting, you can keep quiet and curse that person inside. So you could do that. But we did not know that there is a possibility that when somebody is shouting, you can keep quiet, be calm, be peaceful, and have good wishes also for that one. Nobody told us that. So when the seed was never there, so the habit or the sanskar was a far cry. So it was not possible. But when Baba sows the seed and then Baba says, now what you do is you just remember me, and in that remembrance, what I am telling you will be empowered. And if you remember the old world, then the parmat, the dictates of the old world which you have been internalizing for so long, they will receive power. So by knowing the truth and by remembering Baba, we can shift. And Baba says, this is the creation I do through Brahma. And I teach you a lifestyle, and I teach you how to do punya karma through, purity of food, purity. So what to eat, when to wake up. What is a pure lifestyle? I tell you all of that. And I tell you how to do seva also. And Baba says, this is how I, even while sitting in one body, I am able to teach you how to be pure even when you are sitting anywhere in the world. So I come and teach you how to connect with me. I come and teach you the truth. And I come in one body, but I do this for the whole world. And then Baba says that this teaching that I am giving you is for every religion. And this is Gita. Gita Bhagavanu Vach. Bhagavanu Vach means God speaks the Gita. So when God comes and speaks the Gita, it's not a scripture that's written in Dwapar Yuga. So I come in this confluence age and I speak the Gita, and I, the Supreme Soul, am speaking through the Gita, through this knowledge, to every soul in every religion. And Baba says, just by thinking that Gita is a Hindu scripture, it has lost its relevance. So Gita is not spoken by some, physical being like Sri Krishna. It is I, the Supreme Soul, who comes and sits in the body of Brahma Baba, and I am speaking the Gita through which I am telling you the method to finish all your sins, the burden of sins, and then go and become eligible for the new world. So Baba says this is for every religion. And even if somebody is not going to go to Satyug, they have to go back home, and this knowledge has to be shared with everyone. And Baba says, I don't speak in Sanskrit. Nobody understands Sanskrit. I speak in the language in which the majority where I come speak, which is Hindi, and then there is translation also. So in the system that Shiv Baba has created, there is a translation into every language of India and of the world. So the Murli is translated into every language, because Baba says, you want to understand what God is talking to the soul, you don't have to depend on one language. God will do it for you. So I will speak in a manner which you understand. But the only thing you have to do is understand it and do it. So I come and I initiate this process of creation and I do all this. And this is how Baba does creation through Brahma. And then there is another point in the Murli which I just loved, and Baba says that elephants always remain in a, in a herd. So elephants will always be, I don't know what they call the elephants herd. So there is a herd, it's called a herd only. So the elephant will always be in a group. So, but the lion will be alone. And the lion can be alone in the jungle. And Baba says, so the Murli that we are reading today is from before 1969, because it's a Sakar Murli, which Baba spoke through Brahma Baba when Brahma Baba was in the body. So at that time, the Seva abroad had not started. So it was only Seva was limited to Bharat, and Baba says, I am looking for that lion which I can send alone to a foreign country, and that lion can spread Baba's knowledge. And Baba says, I have not yet found someone who can take the initiative, and I am looking for that. And then, there was Dadi Janki who he sent later, and Dadi Janki was the lion who conquered, the whole Ravan Rajya in the west. And that's how, the Seva in the west started from 1970s. So Baba is today saying that I look for lions. I don't look for elephants who stay in the herd. I'm looking for lions who can be, absolutely with Baba. They don't need any physical support, and then they can do Baba's Seva just with Baba's support. Okay, Om Shanti.